Greetings, second year students. I want to welcome you to PTA Rehabilitation Across the Lifespan. This is a great course. I'm really excited about it and I can't wait to tell you all about it. Today we're going to go through the syllabus, the timeline, quick review on the course competencies, and then I'm going to talk about the service learning assignment that you're going to be completing. So you may want to take some time and print these documents out so you have them in front of you as we go through them. We're going to start by looking at the syllabus. It's pretty much laid out the same way that you've seen every syllabus I've ever given you. Name, contact information. Our course meets on Thursdays from 10 to noon in room 2326, and it meets in the afternoons in room 2608. Remember, there's the activity period from noon to 1 on Thursdays, so we won't meet over that time. I do have office hours scheduled Thursday morning before class. If that's not convenient for you, you're more than welcome to come in and talk to me about that individually. This is really an exciting course because the whole point of it is to take the information that you've learned over the last 3 semesters and help you try to pull it together, integrate it, and apply it. There's a heavy focus on treatment planning and development of treatment activities. And the context we use is progression through the lifespan. So the first unit will be for children. We'll cover prenatal all the way up through adolescence. The middle unit will be young and middle adulthood, and then the last unit will be geriatrics. And what we're going to do then is look at common problems that people have in these age ranges, and particularly reasons why they seek physical therapy services. And again, the focus will be a lot of case study, discussion and work in small groups so that we can really interchange and share ideas about treatment so that you really feel like you have a good handle on a lot of different ideas for lots of different physical therapy problems. As far as textbooks, most of the books that we're going to use you already have. You have from last semester the Pediatric Physical Therapy book by Tecklin and the Neuro book by Martin and Kessler. From many semesters you have the Therapeutic Exercise book by Kisner and Colby, as well as the Physical Rehab Assessment and Treatment by O'Sullivan and Schmitz. You used the Portillo book, I believe, in Jim's class last semester, and then finally the new book is the Geriatric Rehabilitation textbook for the PTA by Jennifer Bottomley. You're going to have 3 written exams, and they're each 50 points. They're all essay, short answer and essay. There are no true and false and no multiple choice. I do give you the opportunity, if you'd like it, to do these on a computer so that you can use a word processing program. Some students really like that. They find it a lot easier than doing all the writing. If you're not comfortable with that and you want to write it out on paper, you have that option as well. There is also an assignment or a project that's worth 50 points, so the total points for the semester are 200. The course grade scale is the same, and obviously we don't have any lab activities, but you do have to have a 75% written exam average in order to pass the course. I definitely will try to get back to you if you email or phone me by the end of the next business day. Since we're only meeting once a week, I don't see any trouble with being able to get your exams graded and back to you. Attendance policy is the same. Please make sure you email or call prior to class and make sure that you ask for any makeup work. Ensure that you only use your BTC email and you know the cell phone policy. For academic honesty, a few things I want to highlight is that you want to make sure that we're collaborating appropriately. So make sure that you aren't submitting anyone else's work or allowing anybody else to submit your work or collaborating with someone when you're not supposed to. So in this course, it's perfectly fine to collaborate on the case studies that we're going to be working on primarily in class, in small groups, and also, of course, in your own individual study groups. What you're not allowed to collaborate on is, of course, the written exams and also the service learning assignment. And then lastly on the syllabus are the resources. If you have a documented disability, you can contact the Disability Support Service staff. If you need the help desk to log into the computer, to your email, access Blackboard or Banner, you can get the help from them. If you have specific questions about Blackboard functions, you want to contact Betsy Rizal. And then lastly, there is some tutoring assistance available in different areas, so particularly maybe with writing, when you're going to be writing up your project, you may want to access some tutoring assistance. All right, let's go ahead and pull up the timeline, and I think as we go through this, I always think that this gives you a lot better idea of what we're going to be covering throughout the course. So our first unit, as I mentioned, is going to be Pediatrics. Now the dates are a little bit jumbled here in order because since I'm not going to be here on the 15th, Dana Lindsay is going to be covering that class, and since she has a lot of experience working with pediatrics, I wanted to have her go through material with you that really takes the best use of her expertise. So she's going to be starting out on the 15th talking with you about pediatric treatment delivery models, which is essentially looking at, if you're going to see pediatric patients in physical therapy, where is that going to happen? Well, we're going to cover three main areas: the NICU, or the Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, the Birth to 3 program, and then the school system. So she's going to go through those with you. And then also you're going to be covering pathology and treatment for pediatric patients. And for these, make sure that you're also looking at your course, your first exam review, so that you know the pathologies that you really need to understand in depth. For the pathologies listed on the exam review, you do need to know in detail definition, etiology, make sure you're memorizing these things, and then you're able to develop physical therapy treatment activities in detail, and also that you understand a little bit about the medical management. You have case studies that are posted on Blackboard. You want to print those out, bring them to class with you, because you're going to be working in small groups together in class to develop treatment activities and ideas. Students find this very, very helpful. It helps them to review information you've already learned, maybe from last semester in your neuro class, and also takes advantage of ideas and opportunities from students who've been in clinical sites and seen other activities and things occur. So it's you'll work in small groups on your case studies, and then you'll also come back together as a big group, as a full class. So it's really a good way for you to fill up your box of treatment ideas with lots of tools. On the 22nd then, when I see you, we will go through the review of normal development, and we're going to start pre-embryonic at conception and go all the way through old age, just to give kind of a quick overview and set the tone for the course. We also will talk about evaluation tools that are used in the pediatric population. There are video links on Blackboard, and I need you to watch those before you come to class. And then also on the 22nd, we will cover the period of adolescence. And again, there are case studies for that you want to bring with you. And make sure you can see there's tons of reading for this unit. So make sure you're doing your reading and you're coming prepared to talk about things. It wouldn't hurt for you to have your Tecklin and your Martin and Kessler book on the 15th and on the 22nd as well, to use as a resource to develop your treatment ideas for your case studies. This course as a whole goes very fast because it's only 8 weeks long, and we only meet once a week. So on the 29th, we already have your first exam. You can see the asterisk there. We're going to start the exams at 9 o'clock. So make sure you have that on your schedule, 9 o'clock to noon. And as I mentioned, you'll have the opportunity to do the exam on the computer if you want it. That's also the day your proposal is due for your service learning project, and I will talk more about that assignment at the end of this video. So let's go to the next unit. That's going to be the unit for young and middle adult, and we're going to start that the afternoon of the 29th. So you'll take the exam in the morning, and then after the hour-long break, we'll talk about young and middle adulthood, and we will cover common pathologies for that age group. You'll have case studies. Again, you want to make sure you bring your Kisner and Colby to class so that you can use that as a resource. On that day, we're also going to talk about sports injuries, common sports injuries, and their management. Then on the 5th, we're going to start by talking about wellness, prevention and wellness, and there are a lot of video links on Blackboard that you need to watch prior to class, and you also will have some supplemental readings. So you need to definitely make sure that that information is completed before class, because we're not going to spend a lot of lecture time in class on that topic. We'll also talk about work injury management, and we're going to do a little bit of a lab activity that day, so that's why I want you to wear active clothing you can crawl on the floor and lift things with, because we're going to be having you perform a functional capacity evaluation on each other. And essentially that's a little bit of a physical assessment that someone might go through to make sure that they can do the physical tasks of a job that they're going to take. Also on the 5th, we're going to talk about pregnancy from the standpoint of the woman, a pregnant woman, common pathologies they may experience, and also how physical therapy may help with those pathologies. So that's the end of that unit, and you'll have that exam on the 12th, again from 9 to noon. And then in the afternoon, we'll start our last unit, which is the geriatric unit. And we'll start that by talking about the aging process. And if I was there in person with you, I would draw a triangle on the board, and I would write function in the middle, and I would write impairments due to aging on one point of the triangle, impairments due to pathology on another, and impairments due to disuse or inactivity on another. And so sometimes it's hard for us to sort out, what problems we're treating that are just due to age and what are really compounded by disease or by inactivity. So we're going to start this unit by trying to look at what the literature tells us about the things that occur just due to aging in perfectly normal or healthy people. Also, and then we'll proceed on the next class period by going through functional assessment tools that are used in the elderly. Some of these I know you've done for balance, like the Berg or perhaps the Tonetti, but we're going to look at a variety of functional tools, and also start talking on the 19th, pathology and treatment in the elderly population. Again, lots of case study work, so make sure that you're coming prepared for that, and we're going to continue that on to the 22nd. I told you it would fly by. That brings us to the end of the course. On the 7th, you'll have your last exam, and then in the afternoon, you'll just, in a very low-key, informal way, you will share what you did for your service learning project with the entire class. And sometimes we do this, in a potluck setting or with some snacks or something like that, just as kind of a way to celebrate you finishing your academic work and giving you a bon voyage off onto your clinicals. So that's the end of the timeline. Again, I'll certainly can answer any questions either next week when I'm back, or you can email me with questions. You have a document called Course Competencies on the Blackboard, and this just gives you very detailed information about what's expected throughout the course. So I will let you look through that on your own. And then finally, let's talk about the assignment for the course, which is a service learning project. So service learning essentially is an approach that combines you doing community service with some learning objectives, and then finally there's a reflection component. So there's service, there's some objectives, it meets objectives of our course, and then you're going to have some reflection. So this is just really to prepare you to be able to be active in the community, to be a leader in your community, and to be also active in your professional association, and of course to give back a little bit and provide service to the community. One of the objectives of this assignment is to allow you to examine the role of the physical therapist assistant in promoting health, wellness, and prevention. And this is one of our course competencies, as you'll have seen, I'm sure, when you read through the course competency checklist. The other objectives, you're going to need to pull out the assignment so that we can go through the indicators of social responsibility. The APTA has a document called the Core Values of Professionalism, and one of those core values is that a PT and a PTA should demonstrate social responsibility. And social responsibility then is further described through the objectives A through K that are listed on your paper. So I want to go through those with you so you understand and you can appropriately choose some things you might want to work on through a service learning project. So advocating for health and wellness needs of society. When we advocate for something like this, we're generally advocating to legislators, or advocating to insurance companies or something like that. So this is something that may take a little bit more structure than you can really do for this particular project, but that is an example of advocacy. The next one, promoting cultural competence within the profession and the public. A lot of people meet this objective in the profession by doing service learning project or like mission trips, either abroad to underserved nations where there are underserved populations, or to areas in the U.S. that have underserved populations. Some of you may have done this maybe through a church group or something like that, but a lot of PTs and PTAs and a lot of PT and PTA students do their service learning through these types of trips. Again, that's probably way out of the scope for this particular activity, but that is another example. Again, C, promoting social policy. Again, that's more at the regulatory and the legislative level, as well as advocating for changes in laws and regulations. The next one, pretty much all of you will be able to address this objective because it's promoting community volunteerism, and that's what you'll be doing. Volunteering in whatever area. And I want to jump to I, promoting leadership. You may not think of yourself as a leader, but you really know a lot about physical activity and a lot about healthcare, a lot more than general people in the community know. And so you really will be seen as a leader in whatever arena you decide to volunteer. F takes us back to the political arena, political activism. G, participating in achievement of societal health goals. That's really, really broad. And again, I would imagine that most of you will be able to address this objective in your service learning activity. So for example, one of the things you'll see on the next slide that students have done is they'll work with a Girl Scout troop to help them work on their health and wellness badge or their physical activity badge. So that's definitely promoting participating in the achievement of societal health goals. We know we want our society to be less obese, more active, healthier in general. Other students have gone to a senior living center and worked on balance and falls prevention. That certainly would achieve societal health goals. So this one's really, really broad. H, understanding how issues at the community or national or world level could impact society's health and well-being. This could be something like, can the kids in your community walk to school? Are there sidewalks from their house to the school? Are there walking and biking paths in your community for people to get out and be active? Those are the kind of things that might be at that level. I talked about leadership, collaborative relationships with others. Again, it's hard for me to imagine a service learning project where you won't be collaborating with other people, so you certainly could be meeting that objective. And then social justice is, again, probably a little bit bigger scale. So let's look again at some examples. There is a pro bono health clinic in Janesville. If you do decide to contact them, I just want to let you know you won't be doing physical therapy work. You'll probably be doing filing or checking people in for their appointments or something like that. But it still would count for service learning. It doesn't have to be specifically physical therapy related. Lots of fun runs go on, not so much this time of year, or if there's another community sport related activity. I know one year people participated in a Zumba marathon to raise money for a cause, and so that was a perfect service learning type of activity. Other people have gone and done the polar plunge to support Special Olympics. So any of those types of things would be perfectly appropriate. And you can, volunteer at it, or you can participate in it, or you can do both. Lots of people have talked to Phy-Ed classes or health classes at either the middle or high school level. I talked about Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts. Lots of students have had opportunities to do that, and that's worked out really well. I also mentioned participating with exercise or balance activities or falls prevention for the elderly. There's also a skilled nursing facility close here called Cedar Crest, and they are always looking for people to help And again, it may not be directly with physical activity. You might be transporting people down to bingo, or you might be playing cards with them or something. That still would be considered service learning and could meet the objectives of this assignment. Many students have done proper body mechanic demonstrations. One student was sitting waiting for the oil to get changed in her car, and she happened to notice that the guys in the service bay weren't using the best body mechanics. So she offered, and they took her up on it. So she came back during their noon hour one day and worked with the people in the service bay and demonstrated how they could use better body mechanics during the activities they were doing to change oil and other things. Another student I remember worked at Walmart, and so she worked with the cashiers on good body mechanics during prolonged standing. She worked with the people that were stocking shelves on how to, lift things above their head, work in low areas, obviously lots of bending and lifting, how to handle awkward sized packages. So, I really want you to be creative. I really want you to find something that's meaningful to you and that you enjoy. Something that speaks to you and something that you feel like you'll get a lot out of and that you'll be able to contribute. So you do need to write a proposal about what you want to do so that you don't go ahead and do something that's just not going to work out. This is due to me by January 29th. If you want to turn it in earlier, so you can get started, that's perfectly fine. Or if you just want to, make sure I'm clear on what you want to do and then write your proposal up, that's fine too. But what I want you to do is, in the proposal, is tell me what you want to do and then also identify which of all those assignment objectives it will meet. I want you to be really thorough, so look for any one that you think it'll meet and very thorough in explaining why. Even if it seems self-explanatory, I do want you. So the focus here is on why. Sometimes I've had students that have planned an activity and then it's fallen through for one reason or another and they've had to change activities. If this happens, you want to avoid that, but if it happens, get your proposal. You're going to have to resubmit a new proposal. You need to get that into me as soon as possible. So remember, the definition of service learning included some reflection, and so you're going to do this reflection through a paper, and I want you to describe to me what you did. And again, this will seem a little redundant, but you need to, again, go through the objectives you actually addressed. Now remember, your proposal, you may or may not address everything you thought, or you might address more objectives than you expected. But here again, the focus is on why, so please be thorough. Think a lot about, why you think you accomplished those objectives. I want you to reflect on things that went well and tell me about that, and also things that might have gone better or things that you might do differently if you did it again. I want you to give some thought to the impact that your participation had on the others, and also the impact it had on you, both as a future physical therapist assistant and as a community member. And then, of course, I need you to type this, double space it, use good grammar, and all that kind of stuff. You're welcome to write in the first person because this is something you did, so you can say, I went here and I did this and we did that. That's perfectly fine. So probably seems like a lot of work, but I can tell you students really enjoy doing this. Maybe not so much the paper part, but they really enjoy the service learning. They enjoy getting out and participating. They find that they know a lot of information, and they find that people really look up to them and recognize them as leaders and as very knowledgeable people. So I think you're going to enjoy this and get a lot out of it. Again, if you have questions, you can email me or let me know. So I'm really looking forward to having a great semester with you. This is a great class. It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of time where it's very dynamic and we're sharing a lot of information together. And again, students really find it helpful to get them prepared to go into clinical and to go into that licensure exam and to look for that first job. So have a great day on the 15th with Dana, and I will look forward to seeing you all on the 22nd. Thanks.